Truth is that in all the avatars that we have, Rama avatar is very, very unique. Very unique. He is born a prince, yet he led a very, very simple life, a life of complete sacrifice for others' sake. He never lived for himself. That is one sign of spiritual personalities, that they don't live for themselves. Like paropakarartam vahanti nadyaha, paropakarartam duhanti gavaha, paropakarartam phalanti vrikshaha, paropakarartam idam shariram. They truly, truly live this in their lives. That just as rivers don't carry water for their own sake, cows don't yield milk for their sake, trees don't yield fruits for their sake, likewise, the truly spiritual people don't live for their own sake. And this is the idea of spirituality in India. It is nothing to do with applying vibhuti all over the body, growing long hair, or shaving your head, or wearing ochre robes, and following all kinds of strict discipline. All that is of no use at the end if there is no selflessness in the heart. So Sri Rama's personality is such that he taught this lesson of selflessness. Though there are so many things that can be learnt from Sri Rama's life, but one thing that he always led his life for the sake of others. When he was a small boy, he sacrificed for the sake of his brothers. When he grew up, he sacrificed for the sake of his father. When he was there in the forest, he sacrificed for the sake of the welfare of the forest dwellers. He fought many battles with demons, protected many rishis, protected many ashrams, and gave them all his abhaya. When he went to Lanka and conquered, he sacrificed Lanka for the sake of Vibhishana, who wanted it. And then when he came back all the way with his wife after so many struggles, and there was an issue at the kingdom, for the sake of the greater good of the kingdom, he sacrificed his own wife and children. If you look at Rama's life, it's one saga of sacrifice. And that's why our scriptures very clearly say, Tyage naike amritatva manashu. Na karmana, na prajaya, dhanena, tyage naike amritatva manashu. By progeny, by actions which are selfish, and by accumulation of wealth, nobody has attained immortality. Those who have led a life of sacrifice, they alone have known the truth, they alone have attained immortality. And this idea of sacrifice, which is embedded in our scriptures, is completely personified in the life of Sri Rama. Ramo Vigrahavan Dharmaha, they say. He is the very embodiment of Dharma. And what is the true Dharma of ours? If we ask ourselves, our true Dharma is not to just get educated, get a job, family, comforts, do some seva. Our true Dharma is to lead our lives for the sake of others. That is the real Dharma of everyone. In nature, you will see this. Everything in the nature is for the sake of others. But just man has deviated from this true Dharma, Swadharma, Atma Dharma, which is to live a life for others' sake. When you lead it for your own sake, you attain death. When you lead your life for others' sake, you attain immortality. Rama died long ago, but till today his name is immortal. His life is immortal. Go to any nook and corner of India, everybody knows who Sri Rama is. Everybody adores him for the good that he has done, for the life of sacrifice that he has led for others' sake. That's why Rama is immortal. Amrutatva, Amrutatva Manasho. He has attained immortality. Leave aside the Parabrahman, the Paramtattva, the Sri Rama as the spiritual incarnate or a divine incarnate. Think of him as a regular person who had to lead a life in this society with all its difficulties, obstacles, issues. And on top of that, he had a huge responsibility to be a king and lead everybody on the righteous path. And he did it so very well. Many people have many questions about Sri Rama's life. They have their own ideas about why he took certain decisions as he took. But if you see it from the point of view of Sri Rama, everything is in accordance to the law of Dharma. When he was individual, a boy, he was a brother to three more brothers, and as being the eldest, he always sacrificed for their sake. When he grew up and his father's, the boon that was given to his stepmother Kaikai had to be fulfilled, he sacrificed. He said, as a son, my duty is towards my father. And Pitruvaki Paripalana, I must keep up the word of my father. And for that sake, he gave up his kingdom. Then, when he was in the forest, he followed the Pati Dharma. He had to protect his wife. And whatever it took, I have vowed to Mother Sita, she is my wife, she is my better half. And to protect her is the vow that I have taken, Ekapatni. And I must protect her. And whatever it took for him, he went all the way walking, fought a war, won the war with great difficulties, and brought back Mother Sita. He followed his Pati Dharma. Look at his Dharma as a friend, Mitra Dharma. He kept the word given to Vibhishana, he kept the word given to Sugriva, gave them what they required. He won their kingdoms back for them as a friend and returned it all. Never took anything from them. He came back, became Raja. Now Raja Dharma became more important for him than everything else. And so he had to let go of his own wife because the kingdom would otherwise be in disarray. And so he let go of his own wife, for whose sake he fought such a war that he was Raja Dharma then. He had to follow Dharma of a king. If you look at his life, that is why we call him Vigrahavana Dharma. He is the personification, embodiment of Dharma. But beyond these layers of Dharma that we see in his life, the true Dharma that he followed is always lived for the greater good of others, not for his own sake. Whenever it was a question between him and others, he always chose others. And that's why he is immortal. That's why we celebrate Rama's birthday even today in all parts of the country. After the Ganesha festival that is celebrated, Rama Navami is another festival that is observed across the country. As a deity, Rama is worshipped across the country. And not because of any of his great miracles or so-called being a divine incarnate, but largely because of the kind of life he led for others' sake. And that's what makes him an immortal figure in the Indian history. And I don't think in the whole world we have another example like Lord Sri Rama, even remotely comparable to his qualities, his life. Therefore, many people ask me, which is your favorite God? Sri Rama is my favorite God. Because he's such a life he has lived for others' sake. And very, very simple life. Therefore, we all must emulate his example. Example of following Dharma. And at whatever stage of life we are in, whether we are children to our parents, whether we are parents to our children, whether we are husbands, wives, brothers, sisters, or any other professional Dharma that we have, we must always think, what good can I do for the others? Must place the betterment of others above one's own self. And then follow one's Dharma. Because that Dharma is born out of sacrifice, Tyaga, and such Tyaga alone can help one attain immortality. And that is the lesson from Sri Rama's life. And it is our great fortune that we are all aware of such a personality as Sri Rama. And in today's times, when atheism seems to be the most fashionable thing, in India, still in every home, we worship Lord Rama. We chant his name, we think of his life, think of his message. On several occasions, and most importantly on this occasion of Sri Rama Navami, this is the very first festival of the year that we celebrate. And this is the festival that should set the right kind of direction for the rest of the year. How should you spend your year? Spend the way Rama would do. How should you lead the rest of the year? Lead the way Sri Rama would lead. What should you do during the rest of the year? Do what Sri Rama would do. Taking cue from his life, we can make our year far more better, far more pure and divine. And when we say Ramarajya has to be established, Ramarajya is when Sri Raman does not rule the kingdom, but he rules our hearts as Atma Rama. Within us embodies the principle of divinity. Divinity is sacrifice, divinity is love. And when we follow that principle of love within, that is when Ramarajya, the kingdom of Rama, will be truly established in the whole world. These educational institutions, all the other service organizations, every activity that is being undertaken is only towards this one goal, one end, that in every heart that Atmarama should be established. And let everybody's life be guided by that principle of divinity, which always teaches you to think of others before yourself. In fact, don't even think of yourself, it just says think of others. Yourself will be taken care of. With that idea, once we lead our lives, when our students, our devotees, our staff, and all those who are associated with us learn this great lesson to lead a life of sacrifice, that is the day when Ramarajya will be established in every nook and corner of this world. Let such a day come soon. Let one such birthday be celebrated in such time and situation where every corner of the world is celebrating this selfless love, selfless sacrifice of Sri Rama, and that will be the true tribute to him, that will be true celebration of Sri Rama's birthday in the world. Let that day come soon with that prayer and blessings, and once again thanking God that he has given us birth in this great land of Bharata, which has been blessed by Sri Rama. And as I said, more importantly, we are sitting in a place where Sri Rama walked this way. He installed a lingam here and sanctified so many ashrams of rishis which were there in this place everywhere. And we are in one such place. That is why this place is so powerful. This is, I call it a tapobhumi. Hundreds of rishis for thousands of years have prayed, done penance, because they all knew which way Rama would cross. And they would have their ashrams like that so that they could receive him and give him some hospitality, give him some rest, serve him a little bit before he moved on to his next destination. So this place was one such place. All these Panchagiri Pradesha is one place which was blessed, and Sri Rama is the one who glorified Lord Shiva and installed a lingam here in this Nandi Kshetra. And eventually he also installed several lingams. So Sri Rama sings the glory of Shiva, and Shiva gave the ultimate mantra. He said to Parvati, if you can't chant 1,000 names Sahasranama, like Vishnu Sahasranama, Lalita Sahasranama, and things like that, just chant this one mantra. Sri Rama Rama Rameti, Rame Rame Manorame, Sahasranama Tattulyam, Ramanama Varanane, Sri Rama Rama Rameti. This one name of Rama is enough. You don't have to chant 1,000 names of God. Just one name of Rama carries that much of power if it is chanted with great love. And I always enjoy listening to Rama bhajans, because every time his name is chanted, it brings back those wonderful moments when Sri Rama lived, walked on this earth, and made it sanctified by the touch of his feet. We are the children of that Lord Rama. We belong to him, we belong to this country belongs to him. And therefore we should always thank our fortunes. We are so fortunate to have been born in the land of Sri Rama.